Hey guys, well, shooters and fighters mix, I think, right? Well, welcome to the Summit Crossup podcast where we never downplay our mains because they are never broken. This is the bi-weekly-ish update on everything fighting games with news, debates, and some trolling. I am Tomadoc, where I fancy myself as the old head that needs special style to compete in bracket. And I'm also joined by Lobrylla, who has infamously stared at fan art of FGC characters for a little too long. And also, I'm here with Pryde, who has been known to pop off in tournaments in the politest way possible by silently screaming in the corner. How goes it, guys?
I mean, it's true.
Really, who hasn't done either of those things, honestly?
Either of them. Yep.
Ever since I started with Blue Sky, I think like that's 95% of my feed. That tells you like what kind of a person I am, like such a gooner. But like, I'll just sit there and like,
You said it yourself, man. You said it yourself.
Hey, I'll just say this. It's like, I don't like browsing feeds because you get lost in it so
Right.
bad. And sometimes it will just incite like really, really horrible emotions if it was on other platforms. But Blue Sky has been sort of this like nice clean feed where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to look at like really suggestive fan art and it's fine. And then there'll be other fighting game stuff, and then an occasional George Takai like quote of the day is usually what it kind of comes up with. But anyway, as we're kind of going about this, we usually just go right into the news and everything like that. So while we do that, let's bring everyone up to speed with some headlines. So Lobs, why don't you bring it up first?
Absolutely. Bandai Namco released patch version 1.12.01 this week. Most notable of the changes are ease of life options in tournament mode, like skippable intros, and confirming rematches with random stage. New items in the fight pass has many creators giving positive feedback. However, the most notable change, or a lack thereof, is that there are no balance adjustments until the start of Season 2. The Tekken Talk Live with Katsuhiro Harada and Michael Murray is scheduled for February 24th, and it is anticipated that more details will be revealed then. Can we still ask Harada for stuff?
EVO, with their new lineup of events for 2025, started their calendar with the EVO Awards. Notable winners include Punk, winning Player of the Year, Tekken 8, grabbing Best Release, and the Hayao Moment 38. The infamous Hugo final second scramble with just one pixel of health, taking the awards. This inaugural event also came with surprises for a reveal for Fatal Fury's City of the Wolves. Are there any other surprises? Because I want more Mai.
You always want more Mai. Anyway, SNK is set to open for an open beta test for City of the Wolves from February 20th through the 24th. To help players understand some of the new mechanics, such as the rev system, SNK has also released a game guide to showcase its use. High-level gameplay from the developers was also made available to viewers on YouTube, and content creators such as Rufalmonger and Justin Wong have already reviewed the footage and gave their positive feedback. The open beta release will also have 8 playable characters that are also on the SNK website. This release was worth the 18-year wait, right?
Well, with those 18 years of waiting, we got our first season of DLC all revealed in for City of the Wolves. Andy Bogard and Ken from Street Fighter in the summer of 2025, Joe Higashi in the fall, Chun-Li in the winter, and Mr. Big in the beginning of 2026. There goes the surprise and intrigue right there. Thanks, SNK.
Well, that does it for our Summit News Flash Bulletin for this episode. So thank you guys for helping out with that. Oh, that was a really sudden like stop. My bad. I don't know how to fade. But as we're kind of going through this one, the fact that they already revealed all 5 characters for SNK, that's kind of cool. But kind of going into our first topic of this, where I said shooters and fighting games mix like type of thing. There was an article on Event Hubs that I saw this week, and it talked about like how Marvel Rivals, which is now one of the most popular video games out there, where some people are actually even taking it as like kind of part fighting game. Honestly, like Lobs, you probably can talk about it more because I know you played it, and so have you, Pryde. So I am really an old guy. Like once I saw it was basically an Overwatch clone, I'm like, meh. Like I was never really into that type of gameplay. But maybe I'll let you guys at least talk about the game itself first before we sort of discuss. So like, yeah, Lobs, why don't you why don't you kind of just like bring us into speed of like, Marvel Rivals in your opinion and like what it is?
Oh, certainly. I mean, first off, yes, Overwatch clone, very much similar to that. You're put in a randomized team situation unless you happen to be playing with your friends, and everybody quickly chooses characters because you can only one person can only be a character on each side. So pick whoever you want as quick as possible. And then there's like the three sorts of options of types of characters, right? Your tanks, your DPS, and your healer. That's
Hmm.
just a very quick overview of what it is, right? And how I would say it's similar to fighting games in that there you could play as a shooter, you could be ranged, you could be Iron Man, you could be any number of characters who just use guns, or you could pick any number of characters who are face to face. You could be Wolverine or you could be Iron Fist. So they give like a lot of different options as far as like the sort of character you can play.
Hmm.
And that kind of changes like the way you're going to play the game. I personally have mostly played healers, but I was also a Zenyatta main, so that makes sense to me personally. And yeah, no, it's an interesting thing to even compare it. And I feel like the Marvel versus Capcom collection coming out last year and then Marvel Rivals being huge sort of like aids in that comparison. What do you think, Pride?
Oh no, absolutely. It's planned all together, and the fighting game comparisons like don't stop there. Like a lot of Marvel Rivals compared to like say things like Overwatch and stuff, it's like resource management. Heck, I've even seen people make up combo trees for characters like Captain America and Groot who get in your face. Like you do dot dot dot, and then do the cooldown into this into some advanced stuff. People are finding ways to find enjoyment in the game. I think a big change for it is it's third person. People like looking at their characters. That's cool. But yeah, I think it just captures pretty much the essence of what everyone wants. If you go into unranked, it's the best casual experience of gaming I've ever had in the longest time. You want to go ranked? Cool. Now you can sweat, and that's the environment you want to be in. Go for it. And then, like you said, Lobs, I've had some friends say, "Oh, I can't really shoot well. I never played Valorant, CS, or like Overwatch." And I'm like, "Don't worry. There's tons of characters that fit different roles in the team and different roles in the way they play." And I think that's a big part of its appeal. And especially what I love about Marvel's Capcom 3, and this game is we're seeing characters that people aren't as familiar with, and this will tie into like Marvel fighters in the future. Like, who's Jeff the Baby Land Shark? Who's Magic? Those are the two that came to mind. There's more, I'm sure, but
Mhm.
those two, for example, like you're bringing them to a new audience. So I think that's what Marvel Rivals is successfully doing. And then Marvel versus Capcom, the collection, is reminding people of how good that series is, and hopefully what it can become if they decide to do a future installment.
Yeah, and that was the part where I was trying to like sort of bring up this topic and because it reminded me of a time when back in the 90s in the arcade where it was just so many different fighting games, but they were inspired by other things. I mean, currently right now there's a League of Legends variant that is on the horizon. I don't know. I think they said it was 2025 for
Yeah.
2XKO, or I still call it Project L, but that's me. But that's the League of Legends fighting game. I mean, you had most infamously, Lops, we have Street Fighter the movie, the game, that we always joke about as well, with like Jean Claude Van Damme. But like, I'm wondering, yeah, it's bringing up light of these other of these classic like Marvel versus Capcom collection that you did bring up, Lobs. But maybe I'll bring it back to Pride. Like, what do you think would
Mhm.
be like kind of what would be something that you would like to see kind of cross over then in that sense? Because if you think Rivals is something where it could push like the Marvel universe into another game, hopefully not by Another Realm Studios. Sorry.
Oh,
Uh
I don't think so.
but like a good developer, like what would be another game that you think would work? Like, I don't know, like
Hmm.
are we gonna see a Call of Duty fighting game? Like, I'm sorry. I
Are you asking me like what franchise deserves its own fighting game
Maybe,
and
yeah,
not, we're
why
not talking
not?
about Marvel? Oh,
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't know. In the pre-show, you joked about Breaking Bad. I think that's kind of funny,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's not my answer.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Like I think The Boys. I've always thought that
Yeah.
that would be cool. You got Invincible, like the Amazon shows. I don't know, those would be cool if they matched up together. Because again, what fighting games I find really is just inspiration from like other media. You've seen this character here. Oh wait, they fight now. That's really cool. So I feel like if they followed that, that would be really great. So that's my pick. If we had to have another fighting game that followed suit and would encourage more interest into a certain IP, that I would personally pick The Boys. On the Marvel side of things, I definitely think Marvel Rivals doing so well will lend to another fighting game again, probably by Capcom because the release. I don't know. So there you go. I kind of answered two questions in one, but there you have it. Ta-da!
It's that's quite all right. I mean, I don't know, like Lobs, what do you think would be like what franchise that you would say now, or even old ones that you can think of that would cross over well to be like a fighting, possibly a fighting game, like considering what's going on with Rivals?
Well, first off, I think what makes Marvel a good choice is that they have a lot of different characters to draw from already, right?
Hmm.
Which is also what made League of Legends also a really good choice, is they have a base roster of amazing people to choose from. So really any franchise that sort of like has a cast of characters that can do like a wide variety of stuff. I don't know if this is directly answering your question, but with Hunter x Hunter on the horizon as well, I actually think if we could do like one gigantic like cross anime fighting, like we could have Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and like a lot of the other ones, almost like a Smash situation kind of, and just sort of like take and mix from various different tournaments to
So,
see like who's, if I could play somebody from Yu Yu Hakusho and somebody from One Piece, I don't know, that would just be really really fun, just right off the top of my head.
I
And if
mean,
something like that exists, I don't know,
I,
but it would be
It
really
does.
fun.
yeah,
It
It
does,
does.
it's
does it?
it's
Yeah.
called cross tag. It's BlazBlue cross tag battle, basically.
No, guys,
No,
it's
no,
called Jump
no.
Force. It's
Oh,
called
that.
Jump
Oh,
Force.
Jump Force.
And it's called
Yeah.
Oh.
Jump Ultimate Stars on the DS. You can literally play as the dude from Yu-Gi-Oh! And chuck cards at people. You can play as like Deku. They had that, but the
Is
problem
it
is
a
they made it
fighting
an
game?
arena. So the one on the DS is like Smash Brothers, and then the one on consoles that kind of did poorly,
Uh-huh.
that's an arena fighter, which was like because to follow the rest, but visually it looks good, but then it was just bad. I don't know why. It
Well,
recipe for
okay.
success, but it didn't happen.
I think it could be a recipe for success. I mean, I don't know with what happened to multiverses. Maybe not. Maybe people
Oh
would be
no!
a little.
Oh
I
no,
don't know.
dude!
We have
I
such.
can't do this again.
We have. I'm
Can't do this
bringing out
again.
trauma for poor Pride. He's just gonna fall out of his chair. But no, I just mean like I do believe after with the success of the reemergence of Marvel versus Capcom. I mean, Maximilian dude, releasing his amazing DLC where he reskinned it and you fixed up Infinite, right?
Mhm.
So like we are hungry for this sort of stuff, and it sounds like that one was done as well, or it was like a long time ago. We could do a more modern one, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're trying to say too. It's just like like I
Yeah.
would like a more modern fighting game. And the reason why I said BlazBlue cross tag battle, it was like that was granted it was all fighting games and it was all anime fighting games, but it was a mishmash of all the different ones, like with your personas, your like it was like everything that you can think of, especially between the Arc Sys Works and French Bread
Hmm.
like publishers or developers. It was just like this mishmash of everything to put together, and you're like, oh wow. Yes, it was an anime fighter, but it was, that would be kind of great to have. I would love to have Vash the Stampede. Yes, I'm that old. Like Vash the Stampede just kind of come in from Trigun and just like go in with a fighting game and fighting Naruto um next to Rock Lee, next to
Vegeta.
Vegeta, like, and I don't know. I can try to think of like other anime that I can think of right now off the top of my head, but
Hmm.
everybody with like One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho, like all these different animes. Like, there's so many now. I'm sitting there like, I don't even know how the hell I can binge watch these, let alone like play these fighting games. But I can definitely tell you there is going to be like a mishmash of this stuff that will get me interested the other way, like of oh, cool character. Oh, what is this based out of? Oh, cool. And then I'll go into that medium. Like I'm actually more of the guy going the other way. Like, so if there's like a guest
Yeah.
character, so like when Negan came out, like I didn't really care for Walking Dead. Kind of still don't, but I did like decide to watch his episodes like where he was there just because I was like, it's kind of cool, but I don't
Yeah.
it got me to get to the show. Like that was the point. Um so I kind of going back to what we said about guest characters and stuff, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like I'm still on that mode, but like it's nice to see like the other types of crossovers. So before we kind of close this topic, like uh d- how many hours have you guys played on Rivals out of curiosity? Just kind of
I'm booting up Steam. Hold up.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. Oh, is
uh,
this going to be a Pryde versus Lobrylla moment?
fair
It's
enough.
actually
Yeah.
not as much as I'd want because of work. It's 75 hours.
Oh,
It's not that much,
that's
but it's
actually
still
not
like. But this doesn't include when I played beta and alpha. So I've been playing. I was in the alpha release too.
Oh,
So I played a lot of it.
69.5.
nice.
Not even
We should
nice.
queue up,
Yeah.
Dobbs. We should queue up. Do you need a Bucky? Do you need a Mantis? Do you need a Punisher? Do you need a Venom? I got you.
Well, I have a mighty fine cloak and dagger, rocket, or I've been doing Luna Snow lately. So.
All good. All
And I'll
meta
also
picks.
play Iron Man and Magneto if needed.
Well,
I love that you compliment my choices. That's so sick.
Yeah, yeah.
That see now we have to do that too. Not only just play Tekken, you have to play that game. Marvel Rivals, very popular game. It will. One thing I'll say about it quickly before we go to the next topic is this game, this roster, the skin purchases and everything. This will determine the roster if they make a Marvel versus Capcom again. And I think Jeff the Baby Land Shark is a shoe in for the roster. I think we're getting Jeff in a
So
fighting game.
cute.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen,
Like-
and he's so cute.
They gave him winter gear, and anytime I see a Jeff in his little coat and all of that, I'm just like, adorable. I can't.
can't shoot
I
him in the
almost
face.
can't. I mean, I still can, but it's hard.
Yeah.
but
And then
wait,
he ults you, and you're like, oh wait, never mind. I do. wanna
Wait,
shoot him
yeah.
in the face.
Then you get Jeff, and you're like, "Arr!"
diverting the conversation a little bit before we go on to the next topic is you kind of just did
Sure.
bring something up quickly, and
Mm.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear, or at least I feel like I'm back in like my meetings at work where I'm like, I need to clarify like what is going on here, or I really need some clarification. No, when it came to multiverses, they were trying to do all these like microtransactions to get like everything in, but really the downfall wasn't the microtransactions though. It was the gameplay. Like they weren't updating it enough, or there was something messed up about the gameplay
It was
itself.
both.
It was both.
It was both. It was
So-
definitely both because, like, let's say someone wanted to play, right? And in Marvel Rivals, oh, I love Iron Man. You can pick him. In multiverses, I love Bugs Bunny. Wait, you're telling me I have to play for 7 hours to get Bugs Bunny? What? That was the big problem.
No, but I think what I meant is that like
sorry.
you're talking. Well, no. That's a good point. Like, there's nothing wrong with that point. My thing is that I'm trying to like figure out is like the microtransactions to get what we're dealing with Tekken right now, which is which is the one of the main reasons why I love it is the fact that you can go buy a costume pack for a few hundred coins. Like that's pretty much which is like a couple dollars. Like, and it's a costume pack. It's very visual. But it's enough to do the game. I come from CS where you would pay for like loot boxes and everything like that just to get a better looking knife or a better looking gun. But it was all cosmetic. It was never hitting the base game. Do you think that would be kind of successful for a free to play model then for a fighting game, like similar to Marvel Rivals? How what you guys were just talking about, like were these sort of customizations that doesn't really mess with the mechanics, or at least I don't believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it just makes your character look cool, and it's something that you're proud of, and then it makes you want to stay in the game, and it also kind of makes it like your fingerprint. Loves like what I know this is like totally improv right now to you, but what do you think? Like, do you think fighting like would the free to play model really work here when you have cosmetics, something like that in fighting games?
I mean, just taking Tekken 8 as an example and the sheer amount of cosplayability that game has, and I feel like it could work for sure as long as they have really cool characters and they are putting out costumes regularly that people want to buy. Like that's the big thing. They have to have their fingers on the pulse of what sort of characters people want to be and the sort of ways they want them to look, and then to put that out because they are not getting any. You have to run servers. People are expecting a lot of things from a lot of modern games. Maybe you can get away with not doing like cross platforming, but very few games can get away with that anymore, right? So I would presume like all of that has a lot of costs attached. So you just have to be like making sure that you are on top of, what you're releasing and when. But I think the possibility is there.
Yeah. Pride.
Again, I think Marvel Rivals nails it. I think they know what they're doing. Like when you compare it to like Multiverses again, like what you do is you make a great game. The foundation of the game, fantastic, right? You make all the characters free because you don't want to gatekeep like people's favorites, right? Well, what you tell me you have to play for 12 hours to get Spider-Man? What is this, right? That's not what they do, by the way. It's all free, right? But then because you've made such a good impression, then you release the cosmetics and you can price them accordingly. And do these cosmetics don't just improve the game, bro, it improves my Twitter timeline. I see people cosplay as these skins. I see people do fan art. It's crazy. And the more and more of that you get, the more and more of that you do, it's the better model than what I don't know what the heck Multiverses was thinking with doing their whole monetization thing. It was a big part of its downfall. Marvel Rivals is a genius, and I'm pretty sure 2XKO is going to do the same thing. I'm pretty sure 2XKO is probably going to make its characters free, or at least like, hey, here's a rotation and a big one of characters. But then the skins will be the big draw, and that's like almost like, do you want to support our game? Are you having fun? Then buy the skins and we will continue to update the game. That is like the strat that has to be done for future fighting games, especially if they're free to play. You cannot gatekeep characters. That is my whole thing. But I think Marvel Rivals is doing it fantastically and making the skins that people want to see right away. They have the pulse on, just like Lob said.
Yeah.
They are listening and they're getting it right every time. I
mean,
guarantee it.
Think that, like, yeah, I think a developer that is, I believe, somewhat independent, or at least is not a big name developer from my understanding. If
Mhm.
it would be, it's NetEase, and I'm like, they're kind of doing it right. They kind of saw what the temperature is. So I'm already trying to like look at them as like sort of like just a business case like type of thing, because that's kind of like what I like doing on my free time, is like literally analyzing other businesses and everything like that. So but as we're gonna kind of move on into something here, because like it's kind of segueing a little bit into this, because what you guys are talking about right now, we're in the height of, I wouldn't say height, it's almost like still the honeymoon period of Rivals, and it doesn't look like the honeymoon period is like actually leaving anytime soon, because they just kind of know how to keep you hooked. But right now, like what we noticed, because the laws, you mentioned it in the news piece earlier, is that like Tekken 8 is having their Tekken 8 1.1201 patch. I can't believe I remember that. Where there aren't any balance changes, but they're changing some really good stuff, because I am a TO, or like, a tournament organizer, and we do events. Like they'll have these ease of life or quality of life like features that will be there for like no need to like preventable on the mashing rematch, and then you're in the same stage, like when you need to get to the random stage, to skippable intros, to now you can pause the game if you do make the mistake in game. You can hold the pause button or disable pause. I think holding the pause button would be great. So like, but like there was like a lot of this like negative thing where like the games get stale, and
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I'm just like an old fart that's used to these old arcade releases, where Lobs and I did talk about this briefly, where we talked about like arcades. How often did they get a patch? Like once every 3 years, like if that. Like you didn't. The only one that maybe kind of comes into my mind is like all the different Street Fighter 2s that came out, but those took like 2 years each. Like Street Fighter 2, and then the Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, that probably came out within a year and a half. And then Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I believe it was like the next one. Like, and these were just like incremental changes, but like they took forever. Like we never had monthly balance patches. So my point is that, do games like stale out to you guys, like, or like what is it with it, like, and everything? And I'll start with Lobs, because she's probably like me a little bit, because not to like we came from the same era. Let's just put it that way. Like we came. I don't want to like, tell the whole world what her age is, but like we came from the sort of the same era. I am older than her, but we did grow up in the arcade era. So like, yeah, Lobs, what do you think?
First off, unless you were an incredibly lucky person, most people couldn't go to the arcade all the time. These games are in our homes and we're able to play them every single day. So I think it's worth noting that some amount of staleness may come from the availability of the game versus a time where, I mean, I realize you could have it on the Super Nintendo or,
Hmm.
PlayStation or whatever happened to be the system of the day. But in order to go out and play with other people, or you had to invite somebody into your home and do it couch co-op, or you had to go to the arcade. And, nowadays we can just like boot it up and play with anybody out there on the internet. Also, I think if we're talking about Tekken 8 specifically, because maybe that's the community that's saying it. Right now, Street Fighter 6 is a little more in the limelight. Mai was just released, and usually when a new DLC character is released, there is a little bit of time where it will take center stage, and at that time, the other game communities might start to feel like, well, what about us? Even though we did just get Clive not that long ago. And so there might be a little bit of that going on as well in this case. Plus, like City of the Wolves beta coming up, and things are really ramping with that. And we're getting so much information about it. And we've gotten very little. I mean, not we have gotten a trailer for season 2. Don't get me wrong, but we are not yet to the point where they're really like breaking down what season 2 is going to have. So we are just in between things, and that should be okay.
Pride.
What do you think, Pride?
Yeah, being in between things is totally normal, but I especially want to like double down on what you said, where you were saying, "Oh, if this game gets something, why can't I have that?" And for Tekken 8 specifically, this is just my take, bro. I love Clive, but I'm like an exception. I don't think a lot of people do because they're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" So when your big game of the year awards reveal is maybe someone you don't want, and then you see other games getting all this content and these skins, and you turn back to your own game and you're like, but what about I mean, obviously there's a level of entitlement and a level of like setting expectations too high for releases to be so fast, I guess. And tying it again, arcade days, we didn't have these updates, but here we're spoiled by them, and not just in fighting games, but like Fortnite gets updated all the time and stays relevant, shooters, all these things, right? So in this case, to me, Tekken 8 is in a very weird space where maybe their development takes a while and they teased Anna just ever so slightly, but then all these other games are doing really cool things. They're releasing, I mean, the City of the Wolves beta is going to suck in a bunch of people, right? Probably make people not interested in Tekken 8 for that few 4 days, right? So we will be here on Summit Crossup when something cool for Tekken 8 will happen.
Yeah.
It will. But right now, right now, it's kind of stale, and I for a lot of people, and I sympathize with some of it, and I'm also sort of like, come on, guys, just it's the game is good, but I also think balance is a big problem. There's still a lot of people who are frustrated with certain troublesome characters, and that's a big part of it. So that maybe is also part of the staleness issue too.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, like I kind of was like with the staleness issue, or at least what you were kind of, I was going to try to allude to that actually was
Mm-hmm.
the balance of the characters and everything like that. I don't think there needs to be a balance now. Like we're not in season 2 yet. We're at the end of it. Like this is the time to like if you want to test some of that stuff, fine. But like I don't know. I would rather have all of season 2 like start with like you get the new character because I think that's actually what is kind of happening because I will be very surprised if they don't release the new character DLC with Anna. Yes, I still believe it's Anna, but with Anna later in season 2 or like at the beginning of season 2. They already teased her and everything like that. So with that being said, it's like like I kind of understand why they're not going to show anything now because like to me a new season is actually like an overhaul. So they want to get it kind of right. So it's again, maybe I'm just the old man here and I'm like, dude, just calm down. It's still a good game. Like everybody keeps complaining and everything like that. And I'm gonna ride that to the sunset. It's just like we have a great game. Like I personally think it's a great game. It's what got me back. Have I gotten frustrated on rank? Of course I have. I've gotten frustrated on everybody gets ranked. Everybody has ranked anxiety at some point, or like when they feel
That's
like
me.
any and it stakes. Oh, that's I think that's all three of us to be fair. Like all three of us, like we see
Right.
that promotion. We like kind of like we see that promotion like fiery flame over our little JPEG, and we're like, oh God, I can't screw up. And then all of a sudden you play the most turtly game style that you can.
Mhm.
And then when you see the blue demotion mark, one, you're like depressed because you're like, I got to this point. And then next thing you know, you play like, you know, ish. And it's just like it, and then you get demoted and you're like that's just how I feel in rank. But like to me, that's like kind of part of it. Like I don't know. At the end of it, like, yeah, okay, maybe I punched my stick every once in a while, but that's always been a thing that I've always had. But after like that, a little initial release, and it's not like that bad. It's not like I'm throwing it or anything like that. Because I know some people that literally will throw controllers. Um,
Mhm.
but like outside of that, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not like it's a game. Like it's
Yeah.
we're trying to have fun. Like if you're truly not having fun, then don't play. Like I get it. But I don't know, like it's a fighting game. It's kind of sparks competition, right? Like I don't know. Just to kind of like button this topic up, I'll go back to you, Pride. Like what are your last thoughts on this?
I mean, I think the main core of a game, right? Like, what do you play a game for, right? I feel like with Tekken, it's probably ranked, right? Like, I think that's what it is. And so everything you just said about ranked and people's egos on the internet and people like really desperately clinging for a JPEG, right? Like that experience will wear them down. And when that happens, they go like, oh man, but if we had a new season, maybe Dragonov will be weaker and I can get that rank. This is just a weird headcanon I have. This is probably not the truth for everybody. But I'm thinking like if your main experience is ranked and it's stressful and it's annoying, of course you're gonna want to ask for new experiences because like you just want a switch up, right? But if you're constantly doing this, what is that thing as a Far Cry quote? Like if insanity
Uh
is this doing the same thing over and over again.
definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah, something like that. I feel like that's a lot of people's loop right now on Twitter or whatever social media you're looking at. Like that's what they're doing. They're there, and then so they want something new, something fresh, new content, new stuff. And then when we got Clive, it was like, okay, cool, but Jin is still the same. Dragonov's still the same. Yoshi's still the same. Nina's still the same. I'm still playing the same game. Maybe I should do something different. And that's probably, I think, the mentality that's going on with Tekken. And then people are just further going like, wow, I really have to wait now for a substantial change. And then they get jealous looking at kids across the block. They get Twinkies and you got celery sticks. What's going on? Like you just like, what happened? Why are they getting cool stuff? When really you are going to get cool stuff. You just have to wait like I don't have my watch on. What am I doing? Audio listeners are like, what just happened? No, but you just have to wait like 2 months, honestly. So I agree with like I sort of sympathize with online, but Toma, what you're saying is more in line with what I think, and
Yeah.
Lobs especially too, because I think we're all on the same wavelength here a little bit with this.
Yeah. What do you think, Loves?
Yeah, same. I think it's a matter of the fact that this particular genre of video game has very much become like mountains and valleys, where the valleys it seems like, oh, it's we've been waiting so long. They never give us anything good, even though they try to release like at least outfits, regularly, and all this other stuff. And we did just get a character fairly recently. You're either really, really happy with what's going on because something that you wanted specifically, maybe your character got released or a character you particularly like in the franchise, a guest character you wanted, or, the complaining, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like that's what it is, or that there can be a bit of a lack of patience. But I watched videos across a lot of different fighting games, so I've heard this from Street Fighter 6. Like I've heard this from mini a Guilty Gear Strive. So it's certainly not unique to Tekken. It's just I think this is the one that, we all happen to have our hands in the in the pot, so to speak, with.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and that's pretty much what it is. It's just like it's not just Tekken. It's every fighting game. It's almost like every fighting game that's been on a console in the last dozen years has been like this. Like everyone is getting staled out. It's complaining. Just even the people in the Smash community, which they know they're not going to get any updates forever.
Yep.
Now they have to resort to hard line rules of like this person's banned. You can't use this mechanic, etc. and so forth. But anyway, that kind of will. I guess we're going to kind of start moving on. We're going to go on to our more fun part of the podcast because I like talking as much as the next person and everything, but what I really like doing is throwing these people on the spot. So in this game, what we're going to do is I'm going to switch cameras here. Give me 1 second to kind of do that. And then I'm going to put on the timer and myself in the top. So I can sort of see myself here while I put Lobrylla and Pryde using their improv chops to sort of get us into the situation. So we're going to be playing a very similar game from the first one that we did play before, where I will give them a scenario, but instead of me giving them the characters, I'm just going to give them the category of the plot, or I guess we can say category of characters that they can choose, whether it be Street Fighter, which would be either from 5 or 6, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, or Garo. Like if you know anybody from Garo, feel free, or in the Fatal Fury series. And then Tekken, which would be either 7 or 8. Yes, you can use guest characters in there. So if you wanted to use Geese, you can. But with that, so I'm basically going to have these superlative award type of thing, like most likely to do this, most likely to do that. But I want to give them, Lobrylla and Pryde, 30 seconds each to make it convincing for me. And I am judge and jury on this. And then we're going to go up to a 1st to 3 or 1st to 4. We'll just see how it goes. We're going to play it by ear. I think it's just more fun when we're just sitting here discussing some of this with the music in the background, as I'm going to start right now. Yeah. Because I think it's just it kind of sets the mood. And then all of a sudden the ish that you got that spews out of both of your mouths when you're talking about this with this music going in the back. And you're just like, what the is going on? And it just becomes hilarious. Usually becomes hilarious. Maybe we need some alcohol going into this. So we're going to go very, very tame here, right? So in this first superlative, and I'm going to say Pryde, you're going to go first. And we're going to do Street Fighter. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to do Fatal Fury characters for now, just to make it fun, because in the spirit of SNK. Most likely to fight for work from home privileges.
What a question. What? Wait. All right, one more time.
Who's basically going to be the one that's going to complain when they lose a privilege in an office setting?
Oh, do I say the name out loud to you, or do I just?
Yeah, well, you can say I'll let me set the timer. I'll put the timer up there for 30 seconds. You can sort of debate whatever you want right now. But I'll give you 30 seconds to sort of you give me your decision, and yeah. So let me what do you? It could be anybody. It could be Jeanette.
No, I have the character, but I wish I knew a bit more about them. But I feel like I have a character.
Well, no, but again,
is my timer going down right now?
No. This is the this is the choose. This is the choosing, because I'm going to give you 30 seconds to choose. You have your character. All right. Remember, the whole point is that even if you don't know the lore, that's makes it even better, because you're literally judging the book by its cover. So with that being said, we're going to reset the timer. Lobs, I'm pretty sure you have somebody, but if Pryde is actually using the same character, you cannot use the same character. So in 3, 2, 1, Pryde, go right ahead.
I had to think of someone who was not necessarily evil, not necessarily good, but would seem like a kind of person to just be and complain. I picked Billy Kane. I think that was my choice in general. I am kind of familiar with Billy Kane. I mean, he's not necessarily bad. I mean, I think originally he was, then he's good, but he just seems the kind, because he's a lackey, he seems the kind of one to just be like, what do you mean I can't do that? You know, like, so that's kind of my pick. Billy was the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm sticking with it because I think that's a winner.
And all right. So Lobs, do you have your character? Like, is everything good? Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
So in 3, 2, 1, and go.
And I'm gonna go with B. Jeanette because she is a pirate, and I really feel like she wants to be on the high seas, going and doing what she and her crew are doing, and she's not gonna want to be in the office. She's not gonna want to follow the rules. I think following the rules is kind of outside of the pirate code, at least somewhere. Maybe they have their own rules within, but they're not going to follow your rules, and I don't think she is going to be about that at all. She'll just giggle and flit away and not do what you want her to do.
Oh, God. All right. So, yeah, we just started really kind of like tame because, you know, we usually ramp it up later on. So I'll say this. One, I appreciate the love for Billy Kane because he is the biggest joke character in the franchise of Fatal Fury. Like every time you, like, there's probably like 2 other ones that I can't really think off the top of my head right now, but Billy Kane has always been like, everyone like basically ishes on that guy. And the fact that you tried to give him love on something that he think he would be very like, he would fight for something where if he lost that privilege of work from home, fair. Yeah, and Lobs, the fact that, I mean, B. Jeanette is a effing pirate. Like, she would not want to work from home. There's no such thing as rules. Like, that she doesn't have rules. Like, what is this all about? So, with that being said, I am going to give, because of the love of Billy Kane, I'm going to give the point to Pryde there. So,
yay!
I'll give that one there. I don't have the scoreboard because it was broken the last time. So, yeah, and we got a new scoreboard now for NFG and everything. So, it's all that kind of cool. So, I haven't tested that out yet. But regardless, all right, so I'm looking at this right now on the different superlatives I have. All right, on the Tekken characters between 7 and 8. Okay, I have to be careful my language of this, but most likely to be a whipped partner / that person that does have a backbone.
Whoa.
So Lobs, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to sort of like think about that right now, just sort of thinking about that. But like, we're talking about like, you know, who has no backbone? Who is that like person that will just always be saying yes to their partner? And it's almost excruciatingly painful to watch when they just say yes. Like, you want to be with your dudes, but then the girl, your girl or your partner goes, but I want to hang out with you. And then you just kind of go to that. You could just kind of go to that.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry, Pryde, if that
That's okay. Okay.
But
All right.
But do you have someone, Lobs? You're good? All right, let me reset the time.
I think I know.
All right, cool. So in 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, so I'm going to pick Lars for this one because he is with Alyssa, the battle robot. And I really and truly believe that if anybody is going to fold and do whatever their partner wants them to do, it's probably going to be the person who's with the woman who literally has chainsaws sometimes for hands and rockets out of her arms. Plus, she's cute, and I feel like she just kind of be like, let's watch a movie tonight. I had plans, but I have this movie, and I just don't think he's going to ultimately say no to that.
All right, Pryde.
What am I supposed to do with that? I was gonna pick Alyssa, but now
no. You know what?
Actually,
you know what? Why don't you pick Alyssa? Because now it's turning the tides. Because it could be a nice counterpoint with Lars. Because like maybe Alyssa's the other one. Why don't you take it that way? This is actually going to be a good argument here. This is almost like a court case now. It's like a he said, she said.
Heck yeah! Look at me, defense attorney Pryde. Woohoo!
Yeah, ace attorney. Go ahead. All right.
Take that.
3, 2, 1, and go.
My logic is way simpler than that. I mean, I looked at a lot of cutscenes from like 7 and 8, and I noticed how much Alyssa really likes Lars. And given that Alyssa's kind of like, I hate to say it, just kind of like a robot, I feel like she would kind of follow suit in whatever Lars does in the pursuit of her affection of him. But at the same time, it's kind of goes both ways. So I don't know. It's tough, man. But I was thinking like robot wants to follow orders, wants to follow instructions, really likes Lars. I've seen it. Her head gets exploded. She gets really embarrassed. So, you know, she just wants to be around Lars a lot. So I feel like that's what my answer was.
And time. I will say this because you picked both of those, like basically the two they're basically partners and whatever in the lore. You both presented like cases where if there was a really bad, horrible feedback loop, it would be one of the most toxic relationships that you'll ever see. That's kind of coming in, and toxic in a sense of like, oh my God, this is the most painful thing. It's like everyone here has had a partner before. It's like, what do you want for dinner? How long has that taken? Like when you had that like argument, it's like, what do you want for dinner? What do you want to do today?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
It's like, what do you want?
I hate that answer. It's whatever you want. And then you're like, okay, I want this, but I wasn't really feeling that. But didn't you just ask me what I want? That's everyone who's listening probably has experienced that.
No, I mean, the day is like, I have imagined Lobs at some point when we were like, you know, like arguing over some things, and there will be points, and this has even happened with like my partner as well, where we go through all the options. And then she would repeat the same option to like me. And I'm like, well, you just rejected it. What the hell? Like, it's like.
They want the last laugh. They want to be the one.
They want to have the last word. This is how Lobs and I work, by the way. Like she just always needs to have the last word. And because of that, because she picked Lars, I really think Lars would be the one with no backbone here because it's Lars. Like he has no backbone. He's going after a robot. It's a freaking robot. Like he has control over that
advanced robot.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a robot. Like, so
this is true.
So he's the one that programs everything. Like by definition, like Alyssa should have no feeling or anything like that. It's almost like she's disqualified from this discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my backup was pretty good though. I had a backup, but it's all good.
Well,
we'll
all right.
save that for another time, and when we're asked that question again in the future, maybe.
All right. Well, this is what the next one is. The needs the most compensation award, and what I mean by compensation, it doesn't have to be a male, but if you understand what I mean, though, it's like they have they're the biggest douchebag with the smallest pee-pee, like type of thing, like that type of compensation, like the guy that would, so like Pryde, you're gonna go up first on this one. So you got to pick the guy that's going to get the big, like tricked out truck to compensate for the fact that, you know, he has no.
What's the game?
What's the game? That you have to give me that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Street Fighter, because we didn't do Street Fighter yet.
Oh, Street Fighter. Oh, dude.
So I'm setting the timer for you.
Are you saying I can pick from 5 as well?
Yes, you can pick from 5 as well.
Oh, dude. I know. Okay, I think I have one. I think I do. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right, yeah, all right. If you're ready, I'm going to stop the timer. I'm going to reset it and then go in 3, 2, 1, and go.
I can't believe this character is Canadian. They represent where I'm from. But Abigail, you know, the really big dude, the really, really big dude, part of the Mad Gear. You said all machismo, small thing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came up. That's truly it. I don't know. He's compensating, dude. Look, he's got tires around his arms. He's already big. Why is he got to do that even more? And I feel like he's also probably a D-bag too. And he was during gameplay when he first came out. So there's that.
I mean, he's part of the Mad Gear gang, so I mean that kind of helps there. All right, Lobs, do you have somebody in mind?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, so I'm going to go to the female side of this whole equation. I'm going to talk about Karen for a minute, how she is extremely rich and she has like everything going for her. Like, you know, her parents give her everything or whatever, and her whole entire focus became about, I have to beat this one woman at school, Sakura. She follows her all around the world with her butler and everything just to like fight Sakura. Like, there's definitely a serious amount of just feeling bad about yourself that you have to, like, just change your whole life to go after somebody.
Dedicated.
Oh, man. Both choices are really good. I'm going to have to say both of them are really good. I mean, Abigail, like, you went literal on Abigail there, Pryde. Like, that
was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, that's who it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when it comes to that, I'm thinking, I guess for me, I'm thinking more on the Karen side, because it's almost like they don't have the self-confidence type of thing, and they have to overcompensate with that. So just to kind of be there, I'm going to give that point to Lobs on that one. So we're going to do that. So we're going to have 2 more before we end this game. So regardless, even though Lobs is winning, it doesn't really matter anymore in that sense. But what I will say is we're gonna kind of switch it up. It's not gonna be as like, personal or whatever, but Pryde. Wait, hold on. No, Lobs. This is you. We're gonna do. We're gonna do Fatal Fury.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do Fatal Fury. Person that is most likely to stab you in the back. In an office setting, like just basically throw you on the bus type of deal. Who would it be? Can't be the Bogarts. I know that, unless you can come up with a case, but it's like, what do you think there?
Yeah.
I guess the timer is probably around at 10 seconds right now, so just I watched the other timer, so yeah. Do you have someone you think?
Yes, it's gonna be. Yeah. I think I can argue this.
Lobs being so unsure, watching her double down on something that she's so unsure about it's a fun train wreck that can happen, and that's kind of what I'm here for. So in 3, 2, 1, go.
So we're going to talk about Rock Howard for a minute, how he, was raised by, oh my God. My brain went completely blank.
Geese.
Anyway, so
he raised by geese, wasn't he?
He's raised by, his father is Geese, but he was raised by Andy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or not Andy, he was... Oh my God. I ruined it because I can't remember the dude's name. Terry. He was raised by Terry, and yet the entire opening cinematic and everything is him fighting Terry. They just become rivals. And I feel like that's some sort of ultimate betrayal. There we go. I'm sorry.
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's okay. It's all right. It sounds like this could be, no pun intended, a lob for Pryde. So Pryde, as I reset the time.
I don't know about that, man, dude, because my answer was the character already spoken of. And the only characters I can see that I remember, they're all nice people. Like Blue Mary's nice.
Really?
Even Duck King is not. Well, I think. Is Duck King nice? I'll pick Duck King because he's cool.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if they're bad or not. That's the thing. I know the characters, but I have no idea their moral lining. So I was gonna pick B. Janet, but that's already been chosen, right?
Okay.
That makes sense because that came to my brain. But I don't know. You've put both of us in a kind of I forgot the word.
Predicament.
Pickle.
A pickle.
Thank you. Pickle. I was gonna say a tizzy. I think that's what I was gonna say. That was the word that came to mind, but I don't know. But say the question again. Someone to stab you in the back at work?
Yeah, someone basically at work that will stab you in the back or run, throw you under the bus.
Throw me under the bus, bro. Can I pick Billy Kane twice?
All right, I can do an audible on this. All right, if you really need it, maybe
I need to know because I'd also say Geese, but that's too obvious, right? It's too easy to fall for. Get it? Because Geese falls. Anyways, continue.
All right, with that, you know what? With that, I'm just gonna give you the point, Pryde, because you just said Geese, and the fact that you just you try to use the easy one right there, and literally getting the lob right. Anyway. I mean,
I'll take it.
You just take it.
You could be me and have this release and be like, you forgot Terry?
Yeah.
He's in every game in existence. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why my brain does this to me.
Yeah, the Terry thing. Yeah, I know. He's actually been in every single one. He's the Mario dude.
Just everyone knows that we're all very neurodivergent supporters and everything. We're all very ADHD and all that type of stuff. So please support your local charity and neurodivergent advocates. Especially Lobs, Pryde, and myself. Anyway.
And be nice.
And be nice to people. All right. So I'm trying to think of the next one, or I want to say this will be the last one. And I'm just trying to say this. Okay. Actually, you know what? Before I actually give you the category of games, I'll make you guys choose. You guys have to agree to it. But the last two that I have are who is the most prudish or most likely to do the walk of shame? Up to you guys which one you ever want to do.
So
the stupid question.
The spectrum.
Stupid question. Define walk of shame. What is
after a one-night stand, you're walking home the morning after.
I got you. Oh, that kind of.
Yeah. So do you want to do
familiar with that.
So do you guys agree you want to do the walk of shame, or do you guys want to do the most prude? It sounds like
They're both good.
which
I
one?
like both.
Oh, let's go walk of shame.
Walk of shame. Okay, we're gonna do walk of shame. So we'll do that with Street Fighter 5 or 6, and I think this one technically goes to Pryde, even though that last one was such a debacle. But whatever, I'll let it go. Yeah. So Pryde, why don't you? I'll give you the 30 seconds right now. So who do you think is most likely to be doing the walk of shame? If you say Ken Masters, that's fine, but I think that's a different type of...
I was thinking that because he's divorced, right? So, that walk of shame. And it's a walk of shame on all fronts. It's on the intimate side, the money side. Get some new clothes, bro, please.
If that's your thing, I'll cut your timer just a little bit to like 20 seconds because you started.
That was kind of my thing. I'm trying to think here because Dan is just pathetic. Could he even get the stand to begin with, bro? He could barely stand up on the tier list.
Which one are you doing? Are you doing Dan or Ken?
I'm doing Ken.
God damn it!
I'm saying Dan is not eligible. I'm saying Dan is not.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Specifically Street. Yeah,
you're now down. You're now down to 10 seconds. You only have 10 seconds.
That's fine. That's fine. Give me the 10 seconds. It's okay. I'll Cole's notes it. All right. It's Ken Masters from Street Fighter 6 after being humiliated with the financial situation, and he goes into one night stand. He's gonna forward walk in shame. Trust, he would. Look at him. He's like,
I had to give you that in Bridgewater. You were just like, God, it's like I love you, Pryde, but there are times where you're just like, gotta stop. Like.
We just talked about this neurodivergent thing.
Yes, I know. So let me put the 30 seconds back on the clock. Give it to Lobs.
Yep.
Lobs, you ready on this? You have someone? If it's going to be Dan Hibiki, I mean, that's probably an easy one. But whatever, who it is, you start right. 3, 2, 1, now.
All right, so I'm actually going to go with Ed from Street Fighter 6-5 just because, the man hangs out in the subways. He's, trying to form his own new group and all this other stuff. Try to get out there and do his thing away from his mentor Balrog. And I feel like he's going to meet a lot of new people really fast. And he's going to realize that, people might just dig that whole boxer look with the emo hair. I think it could conceivably happen, and he might make some choices.
Dude, he's shirtless. He's got the emo hair and he's shirtless, man. The chest is out.
Lobs,
I know.
Lobs, I did not need to know your Street Fighter 6 fan fiction. Thank you. Jesus. Look
at the Blue Sky account.
I think I know what you're looking up in the Blue Sky account and the Blue Sky feed. You're just staring at Ed photos and most provocative type of thing. Because you're no, you'd be doing the walk of shame, assuming that he wasn't at your house. With that.
Yeah, no shame on his part.
No shame on his part, at all. He how would he have he is already an emo type of character anyway. He's already bringing this negativity all on himself. And then with Ken Masters,
it's the giveaway.
That is such a giveaway. I wish you picked Dan Hibiki though, because that would have been even funnier. Because it's not the walk of
shame. So lame. I couldn't think he'd get the stand to begin with.
Okay,
maybe he could if he coached someone. Yeah, he could. Maybe if he could he has not scam, but he can kind of sell something well and kind of embellish. And I mean, it works on Soccer and Blanca, so that's kind of how that works. I think, right?
Fair.
He literally carries photos of himself around. You want my autograph? Let me just give that to you.
That's it.
It's he's desperate.
He's trying.
He's desperate for that tail. That's basically what it is. What you're trying to say to me. All right, I'm actually gonna just say that's a push because both answers are really good to me. And you know what? This was never a competition. This is just us having a fun time. So I'm gonna call it a push for right now as I fade out the music and everything like that. But seriously, Dan Hibiki would have been a better walk of shame because whatever. But honestly, Lobs, what? You basically, I don't know, we're really good friends. I don't think I needed to know the fan fiction, fantasies that you had of Ed. I know he's your main, so that even explains way more than it needed to be. But yeah, God, you have a response.
Run your hands up and down his chest like a washboard.
You invited me into this whole setup. I just want to remind you, Tom.
I know. It's the improv. I need to know where the improv goes, and I have to remember that this actually like I should know now by knowing you for over a year that this is where your mind goes. Like,
I should have picked Terry, like after the whole debacle last time. Terry.
yeah, just pick Terry. But I mean, and then yeah, Pride with some of your picks as well. It was just, oh god, like you have some of the oddest picks, but the Alyssa pick was actually a really good attempt. I'll say that. Like the Alyssa being maybe the what's it called? The no backbone, like kind of whipped type of character
Yeah,
was close, but it was just like
it's tough.
it
They're
was
both kind of
tough.
after each other sometimes. That's
Yeah,
like kind of like it's like a mix, you
but
know? Like
I
that's what
can't
makes it special.
I just see it being the most toxic negative feedback loop ever, though, is when it
Yeah.
comes down to it. But you know, with that being said, we're gonna kind of end today's episode of Summit Cross Up. So when we do that, I usually have to read a script, and I didn't bring it up here. Nah, there it is. So, and that does it for the episode of Summit Cross Up. If you enjoyed this episode, please give a like, comment, and also subscribe to our YouTube at MT Summit Gaming and Summit Cross Up on your favorite podcast platform. Also, go out and support our online show, No Frames Given, on Thursday and Sunday nights. We are going to be doing Tekken. Actually, by the time you hear this recording, Tekken will be our Thursday, but we will be doing a City of the Wolves tournament on Sunday during the beta test. So there will be that as well. So on top of that, so also watch us live on Twitch at MT Summit. You can also follow Lobrylla and Pryde live on Twitch and their other various socials. So with that, finally, support your locals. I am Tomodoc.
I'm Pryde.
I'm Lobrylla.
And Lobrylla, why don't you sign us out?
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening. Always lovely to be here talking to you guys. Take care. Have a good one. And bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, we're good.
Bro, we all said bye. Did the cat pick up?
I don't know. I didn't.
Damn it,
I didn't-
dude. We all said bye, and the cat gave the loudest meow. Okay, hold on.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
It was like the cat was saying goodbye too. It was so trippy. Here. Oh, hey, it's here.